Pulp Fiction is a 1994 crime film co-written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. It stars John Travolta, Samuel L. Jackson, Uma Thurman, Bruce Willis, and Harvey Keitel. The plot revolves around three intersecting stories. The tales consist of The Bonnie Situation, Vincent Vega and Marcellus Wallace's wife, and The Golden Watch. For the first story, we follow two hitmen, Jules Winfield and Vincent Vega, on their way to perform a hit job. En route to their destination, they discuss how their boss Marcellus Wallace threw an associate from a 5-story balcony through a greenhouse for the simple act of giving his wife Mia Wallace a foot rub. The two assassins proceed to have a debate as to why Marcellus was right or wrong for acting in such a vicious and unprecedented manner. Vincent then breaks the unfortunate news to Jules that their overbearing boss has instructed Vega to bring his wife out for a good time whilst he is away on business, thus setting up the premise for the second story in the narrative. Although the hitman played by the Saturday Night Fever star appears to be cool, calm and collected on the surface, he is unfortunately a heroin addict. When he goes to pick up Mia, Vincent is a bag of nerves. As he waits for his date, Vega hesitates to put his coat anywhere, for fear that he would mess up Marcellus's prestigious abode. Mia requests her escort for the night to take her to Jackrabbit Slim's, an over-the-top 1950s stylised diner, complete with Buddy Holly and Marilyn Monroe lookalikes. Vega likens it to a wax museum with a pulse. Just being Vincent's luck, the diner are hosting a jive contest. Both being a reluctant dancer and on a date with his boss's mall, this is far from the situation Vega wants to be in. Rather asking him, Mia demands that her date humour her by entering the contest, and as luck would have it, they inevitably crush the competition and win the contest. Out of jubilation, Thurman invites Travolta back to her place for a congratulatory drink. Whilst Mia fixes cocktails, Vincent proceeds straight to the bathroom to concoct an excuse to allow him to vacate this uncomfortable circumstance without insulting his host. But when he returns to the living room, he is greeted with his worst nightmare. Butch Coolidge, played by Bruce Willis, is thought to be a past his prime boxer who is offered a vast sum of money from Wallace to throw a major fight. Butch, who has no intention of throwing the fight, takes the money without a trace of hesitation. He prepares to immigrate from the country with his girlfriend, Laurie, behind Wallace's back. On the night of the fight, Butch kills his opponent in the ring with a deadly strike. The sweat-drenched Coolidge flees the scene, not even stopping to take a shower. He takes a taxi cab to a shady motel on the outskirts of town, where he rendezvous with Laurie, who in good faith has packed all of the boxer's most cherished possessions. The next morning, as they are planning to vacate their room and start a new life, Butch checks his suitcase to make sure he has the precious gold watch that his grandfather went through great lengths to protect during World War I. Butch begins to excessively grow with rage when his girlfriend can't remember whether she packed the watch or not. He finally comes to the conclusion that it is back at their previous place of residence. Knowing that there is a chance that his place is being staked out by the gangsters that he portrayed, Butch takes his life in his hands and sets out to retrieve his most valued possession. Pulp Fiction originated when Tarantino and a fellow filmmaker and previous collaborator, Tony Scott, suggesting that they would make a collection of short films with different directors. This concept would ultimately go on to be used in 1995's Four Rooms. The first story Quentin came up with was Vincent Vega and Marcellus Wallace's wife. Tarantino went to former video store clerk Roger Avery for him to script another plot. Avery gave birth to the Butch Coolidge tale, minus the Golden Watch backstory. Tarantino insisted that all the stories should contain a cliched feel reminiscent of novella comics from the 1930s. The film's title is derived from the once popular genre of crime books that were printed on the cheapest paper available, known as pulp. Rather than being separate stories, Tarantino wanted the narratives to all take place within the same world. The director spent 3 months in Amsterdam penning the script. The cultural difference of Europe inspired the dialogue for Vincent Vega's opening monologue. Pulp Fiction was groundbreaking at the time of release. Never before did a crime film contain 3 different plots that all tie together to form one singular narrative. The movie would go on to win the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival and earned Tarantino his first Academy Award for Best Screenplay alongside Roger Avery. Moments of the movie were so shocking that it has been known to lead to a small number of audience members to suffer episodes of cardiac arrest during their first viewing. When these rumours were reported back to Tarantino, he knew he had done his job correctly. The movie launched Tarantino to rock star levels of fame, and led him to become the first superstar of film directing. This movie tops the tier of the films that Tarantino has directed so far. There are just so many elements that make it an exquisite piece of cinema. The movie's cast is top notch. There's no such thing as a small role when it comes to Pulp Fiction. Although Christopher Walken's character is only on the screen for a mere 5 minutes, he is still imperative to the plot. The script for Pulp Fiction was so creative and inviting that massive Hollywood stars were willing to take a substantial pay cut in order to appear in the crime film. John Travolta, who was considered one of the biggest actors throughout the 70s and 80s, only took a mere $140,000 home after the shoot. Travolta and Jackson are perfectly paired as Jules and Vincent. The character of Vincent Vega was so popular that Tarantino toyed with the idea of producing a Vega Brothers prequel, where Vincent would star alongside his psychotic brother Vic from Reservoir Dogs. One thing I'll say about Pulp Fiction is that it requires your total undivided attention for the entire 2.5 hour runtime. If you lose concentration for even one moment, you'll risk missing out on vital plot lines and become totally and utterly lost. Tarantino warns movie fans not to watch it, while simultaneously attempting to complete the New York Times crossword puzzle. For fans of gangster movies like Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, or visual storytelling epics such as Sin City, make sure to check out Pulp Fiction.